Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paranormal News. Tonight's article comes from SoconSource.com, and the headline is Haunted Lehigh Valley, a Wilson Borough Ghost Story. It was written by Justina Cabrillo, and it was published October 22nd, 2020. My parents had an old semi-Victorian home in Wilson Borough. It was on the border of Wilson and Easton, off of 15th Street. They bought the house in December of 1977, so we all grew up there. In this old home, I heard stories of the people who lived in the house prior to us, and they were quite the characters. One lady would shoot at birds outside the kitchen window with a rifle while holding her child. I remember someone telling my mom that the man who my parents bought the house from was in the mafia. My parents redecorated the house and made it our family home. My two older sisters, Susie and Janet, shared a bedroom. They had bunk beds. I had my own room. For years, my sister Janet would wake up from a sound sleep to hearing whispers. Susie said she heard footsteps. I thought and said, being the imaginative kid, "You guys can't be afraid of her. She is my imaginary friend." Well, there were nights when I felt my bed move. Now, whatever this was, it wasn't a mean spirit. Nothing ever got broken, and all five of us, my parents, my two sisters, and I, just thought, this is just baloney. LOL. Well, every time my sister Janet was left alone in the house, she was spooked. Every light would be left on in the house, which annoyed my dad a bit. Fast forward to 1996. I was working at a local retail store, and I would walk the mile and a half to and from work. I walked home that day. My parents went away for the weekend, and I had to hurry up and catch my bus to the community college for my psychology class. When I left the house that night, it was around 4, I remember. It being light out, yet I left the outside light and the foyer light on, so when I got home I would not have to fumble around in the dark. My sister Janet was gone. She had gotten married and moved to Hellertown. Susie had an apartment in Bethlehem. As I got home, all the lights were on. Every light in the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, the TV room, the sun porch. All the lights were on upstairs on the second and third floors. I was like, huh? I then called around. I called Sister Janet and she was adamant. She didn't go to Mom and Dad's house. I then called Susie. She said she was never there either. Last but not least, I called my pop-pop, and I asked him, "Were you at the house?" He said no as well. This spooked me. I walked around the house thinking maybe I walked in on a burglar. Nope, everything was intact. To this day, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. One night I was outside after midnight. I had come in from smoking a cigarette, and as I walked passing towards the stairs that led me up to the second floor, I saw a cloud. As I approached it, it disintegrated, and I got closer to it. My sister Susie said she saw an apparition on the top of the stairs on the second floor. As she got closer, the ghost disappeared. So many odd things happened in that house. In 2004, my parents moved out. To be honest, even if it was haunted, it still will always have a special place for me. Editor's note: everything in this story is true, according to its author. The names of the individuals in it have been changed to protect their privacy. And that is the end of this article. So here we have the story of somebody who grew up in a home that was haunted. They saw something quite a bit. The one girl claimed it was her imaginary friend. One part in this that kind of stuck out to me is when she talks about all of the lights in the house being on. And it reminds me of a story from my own past. I lived in a house here in Virginia when we first moved back here that was very, very haunted. I would see things, I would hear things all the time. I would hear little kids running up and down the stairs giggling. They would hide the remote. I would sit down, turn the TV on, sit the remote on the arm of the chair, open up my soda, realize I didn't want to watch what was on, reach for the remote, and it was gone. I'd look all over the living room. I couldn't find it. I looked down in the chair. I couldn't find it. Look in the couch. I couldn't find it. So then when I went to get ice and opened up the freezer, there sits the remote on top of the ice trays. Things like that would happen at my house all the time. The funny part was I have a little brother who is 4 years younger than me, and he never seemed to see or hear anything. At least that's what he claimed. But I remember one night, Mom and Dad went out shopping, and I was out running around as I usually did because I was a teenager. And I came home, and every single light in the house was on. And I thought, whoa, wonder what's going on here. Why is every light in the house on? I bet you my brother saw something. So I went inside, and I asked him if he had seen or heard anything in the house. And of course, he denied that he had seen or heard any ghost or anything. But his denial really wasn't that much of a denial because all he really did was shake his head no furiously. And he was wild eyed and looked very, very scared. So I think that he did, in fact, see something that night. Because he never again said, when I would talk about the things that happened at the house, that I was crazy or that it wasn't haunted or there was no such thing as ghosts or any of those things that he had said before. So I happen to think that that night he actually saw or heard something that proved in his mind that the house was indeed haunted. So that really kind of stuck out to me. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this ghost story because there wasn't a whole lot to it. The girl went back to the house. Every light in the house was on. Apparently, none of her sisters lived there anymore because she called them and they said they hadn't been there. And she said she called Pop Pop, so I imagine that's her dad or her grandfather. But either one wasn't there. And she said that she thought she had walked in on a burglar. So does that mean that nobody was living in the house anymore? Did I miss that part? Was that part of this that I did not catch? Parents went away for the weekend. So her parents were still living at the house. And they had gone away for the weekend. She went there and all the lights were on. Okay, I get it now. So she's thinking that the ghost turned all the lights on, apparently. Huh. Okay, so that's the article. That is her story. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. Do you think that there's something in this lady's house? Do you think that she's just telling a story? As always, I'll leave it to you to decide. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will catch you on the next one. Till I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.